Welcome back to the Activity Magic channel. I'm Steve, the Activity. Today we're talking about Anhelo the Painter, and if you haven't seen him, he's all over Reddit, all over Facebook. He's super cool, copies instants and sorceries and Grixis. Awesome. But before we get into that, I want to let you know we're sponsored today by MTG On Command. And they make these cool 3D printed deck boxes where your commander can be placed on the table, and you always know exactly what's in the deck box. Also, just open a Patreon account, so if you would like to help support me down there, please link in the description below. Oh, and MTG On Command, there's a 10% discount code in the description as well. So, Anhelo, he's a 3-drop. 1/3 in Grixis with, it's a vampire assassin. It says Death Touch. The first instant or sorcery spell you cast each turn has casualty 2. But Steven, what is casualty 2? I'll tell you. As you cast a spell, you may sacrifice a creature with power 2 or greater. When you do, copy the spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. By the way, casualty is basically like an additional cost. I didn't know that, so it's interesting to note. Next up, we have my honorables, Lord Dracus. So, Anhelo is not a 2-power creature in and of himself. So I thought Lord Dracus was really interesting because if you mutate onto Anhelo, now Anhelo has a power of 2. Or you can mutate onto a 1/1 red elemental token, like from Young Pyromancer. And now, whenever you mutate, Lord Dracus is going to return an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand, which is interesting. I like it a lot. Now, Young Pyromancer is also going to add us a lot of value by generating 1/1s every time we cast an instant or sorcery. And at 2 mana, super good. But it is interesting to note that these 1/1 creatures aren't going to be able to satisfy the casualty requirement of power 2 or greater. So you might have to have some kind of anthem effect or, something like that. Next up, we have Mission Briefing and Gripifyresis. Let's talk Mission Briefing really quick. For 2 mana, you get a blue instant that says Surveil 2. You then choose an instant or sorcery card in your graveyard. You may cast that card this turn. If that card would be put in your graveyard this turn, exile it instead. So what's interesting is that it's an instant speed, and Anhelo says the first instant or sorcery spell you cast has casualty 2. So basically, you get to copy the first instant or sorcery. So you copy Mission Briefing on somebody else's turn, and now all of your interaction and removal or counter spells, you can now flash them back, and you've got 2 copies of Mission Briefing. So you can copy 2 different spells in your graveyard. Pretty great, in my opinion. Now, Gripifyresis, this one cracks me up. So you can copy Gripifyresis, and that's great, found it, okay? But for a blue and 2 generic, you say gain control of target equipment, then create a 0/0 black germ creature token and attach that equipment to it. So the germ is holding a Sword of Body and Mind, which is fantastic. So Sword of Body and Mind, the germ becomes a 2/2. That has protection from blue, green, and blue, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but I also noticed that there's a lot of really great equipment in the Commander format right now. And like Sword of Hearth and Home is like the most common sword right now. It searches for a land and flickers one of your dudes. Then we also have Lightning Greaves. Stealing your Lightning Greaves, your token is going to die, but that's fine. Now, that's fine because you basically are stealing from them. Okay, but you do get a death trigger of that Phyresis token. Now, the next one that's really funny is Skull Clamp. So you steal, double check me in the comments, but you steal a Skull Clamp from somebody, which is very common in the format. Now you get the 0/0 equipped to it. Well, the Skull Clamp kills it because it gets +1/-1. Now you get to draw 2 cards off of the Skull Clamp because you you made it a germ. So you steal your Skull Clamp and then you draw 2 cards, you get a death trigger. I think it's pretty funny. But anyway, correct me in the comments if that doesn't work. Next up, we have the auto-include Icecrown Scepter. It's so good. Now, it's a 2-drop imprints. You may exile an instant card with converted mana cost 2 or less from your hand. Cool. Pay 2 generic tap. You may copy the exiled card. If you do, you may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. Now, here's the thing. It's casting the copy. So that means that cast can now have casualty 2 on it. So you're casting this copy, you get a casualty 2, you get an opportunity to now copy the copy. Awesome. So good. But let's keep going. Rotten Reunion and Startle, they're going to give, each one of these is going to give you a 2/2 decayed creature, which helps us with Anhelo. But Rotten Reunion exiles a card from a graveyard, fantastic, has flashback for 2. And then Startle will give something -2, -0 until end of turn and draw you a card on top of giving you the 2/2 Decayed. So if you're copying either of these, you're getting either rid of 2 threats in graveyards, you're drawing 2 cards, etc. They're really good. Now, next up we have Reality Shift. It can exile somebody else's cards or exile your own stuff. So if you want to exile somebody else's big dumb creature and then you want to copy Reality Shift and exile, like, say, a 1/1 and turn it into a 2/2, that's fantastic. Now you get a 2/2 to sacrifice to Anhelo. But Waste Management, it's a 3-drop with a kicker of 4. It says exile up to 2 cards from a single graveyard. If this spell was kicked, instead exile target player's graveyard. Create a 2/2 black rogue creature token for each creature card exiled this way. Fantastic. It's instant speed and it nukes their graveyard. It's great. Ghoulish Procession. When a non-token creature dies, you create a 2/2 black zombie with Decayed, and it only triggers once each turn. So even on your opponent's turn, if you Doom Blade something. Curse of the Restless Dead. Whenever a land enters battlefield under enchanted player's control, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. That doesn't have any limits. It's just good. All right, we have Jadar is going to create a 2/2 zombie with Decayed on the end step if you don't control one already. Poppet Stitcher is going to create a 2/2 zombie with Decayed every time you cast an instant or sorcery. By the way, do not flip Poppet Stitcher. It says you may transform it. Don't do it. It's better this way. Next up, we have some mana reduction. Nightscape Familiar is probably one of my favorite cards in Grixis. It's a black and a generic 1/1. It says blue spells and red spells you cast cost 1 less to play. Yes, please. For a black and a generic regenerator. Sweet. Baral, Chief of Compliance, says instants and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Thank you so very much. Whenever a spell or ability you control counters a spell, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Sweet. So you get extra filter. Now, let us continue. We have some snappy action. So both of these are interesting because they're not instants and sorceries, but they do provide us with a 2/1 body to be able to copy with Anhelo on the battlefield. So Direfleet Daredevil is going to exile a card from an opponent's graveyard, not at flash speed. It's a 2/1 for 1 red and first strike. It says when it enters battlefield, exile target instant or sorcery card from an opponent's graveyard. You may cast it this turn. You may spend mana as though or mana of any type to cast that spell. The spell would be put in a graveyard this turn. Exile it instead. Now we cast Direfleet Daredevil. We go ahead and cast their spell from their graveyard, and then we can copy it, sacrificing Direfleet Daredevil. So we get so much value out of this. Same with Snapcaster Mage. Does it the same thing, but it does it for our graveyard at flash speed. So choice. Number 8 on our list, Shark Typhoon. I'm sure I don't need to explain this card to you. It's a 6-drop. It says whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create an XX blue shark creature token with flying, where X is that spell's converted mana cost. Please, thank you. That's an enchantment, by the way. It has cycling for a blue, a generic, and X. Whenever you cycle it, create an XX blue shark creature token with flying. Oh, yeah. All of them sharks flying around. Bloodghast, it's a 2-drop, 2/1. It says it landfall, it brings it back from the graveyard to the battlefield. It's fantastic. It's not a cheap card. It's good, but you'll always have it to sack Anhelo. Awesome. Dika will create 0/0 fractal creature tokens that get X/1/1 counters where X is the instant or sorcery's casting cost. So you're going to get randomly sized fractal tokens, but they should all be big enough to be able to copy or use the casualty mechanic. Dika, auto-include in this deck. So good. Number 5, Talrand, again, auto-include. It's a 4-drop, 2/2. It says whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 2/2 blue Drake creature token with flying. All of the tokens you're getting off Talrand can be used for your casualty mechanic. So good. Next up, we have Temporal Manipulation. Arguably, this could be just number 1. For 5, 2 blue and 3 generic, take an extra turn after this. Imagine playing Temporal Manipulation and sacrificing something to give it casualty. You put a new copy onto it. So now you have 2 copies of Temporal Manipulation on the stack. That's fantastic. And you copy your 2 extra turns now, and you paid 5 mana for it. It's good. So good. And it doesn't get exiled, unlike most of the others, like extra turn spell. Snapcaster Mage back into it. Number 3 on our list, Sedgemoor Witch. Okay, Menace, Ward, they have to pay 3 life. Magecraft, whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/1 black and green pass creature token with when this creature dies, you gain a life. Yes, please. This is whenever you copy a spell too. So granted, these won't be able to be used directly for Anhelo's Sacrifice, but it says whenever you cast or copy, so you're getting so much value off of Sedgemoor Witch. Next up, we have number 2 on our list, Storm Kiln Artist for 4. Oh, a red and 3 generic 2/2. It gets +1/0 for each artifact you control, whatever. Whenever you cast it or copy an instant or sorcery spell, create a treasure token. This is just going to be pure gasoline in our endeavor to crush the souls of our opponents. So good. Now, but the number 1 card on our list, she's so pretty. She's so beautiful. Professor Onyx. Okay, she is a 6-drop, 5 loyalty Liliana. No surprises. She says Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. I know that she has other text on her, but since we're copying and casting so much stuff, she's just a kill condition from her static ability. She's so good. And you can read the rest of her. She's useful. But, oh my goodness. Magecraft. Drain you 2, gain 2. Yes, please. Now let's talk about that. Okay. We can start copying our copies. Now, here's the interesting thing about Magecraft is it's every time we copy something. So if Twin Cast or Wild Ricochet copy a spell, they can be copied themselves. Well, that's interesting. So if you casualty, so if you Twin Cast and then casualty copying the Twin Cast, you start an infinite loop. So Anhelo is going to let you sacrifice a creature for power 2 or greater, and copy your Twin Cast. Now, your Twin Cast is going to target the Twin Cast, creating a new copy of Twin Cast, creating a new copy of Twin Cast, creating a new copy of Twin Cast. And you just repeatedly target Twin Cast with the new copy of Twin Cast. And you get infinite Twin Casts. Well, that wouldn't be much good to us if we didn't have some payoff. Now, these are copies and they're not being cast. So you have to have a highly specific version. And that's where you get all these copy triggers. That's where Sedgemoor Witch is going to make you infinite 1/1s, pests. That's where Storm Kiln Artist is just going to make you infinite treasure tokens. And that's where Professor Onyx is just going to murder people infinitely. So good. So good. Anyway, thank you all so much for coming out. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'm so excited to be doing this, and I couldn't do it without you. If you have it in your heart to help support me on this journey, there is the link in the description for Patreon. I know I'm going to be saying that a lot more, but and then we also have MTG on command and their deck boxes. They are super sweet. Love you guys. Oh, and let me know what you think about the comedy. I hope it's working, and if it's not, let me know. But I think I'm having a lot of fun making them. Thanks, guys. Bye. Button.